6.3 million people. That's how many believed Real Rosa was a girl, and for a long time, there was no reason to question it. But in one video, everything changed, because Real Rosa finally revealed the truth. It was all a lie. From the very beginning, Real Rosa made it clear they were a girl. Not hinted, not suggested, clearly stated, multiple times. And that identity became everything. Viewers weren't just watching gameplay. They believed they knew the person behind it. And as time went on, the channel grew. More views, more attention, more trust. But behind the screen, that version of Real Rosa didn't exist. In the face reveal video, Real Rosa says it directly. They lied. Not once, not briefly, but consistently. For a long time. They acknowledge how it feels for viewers. Confusion, disappointment, even betrayal. And they don't deny it. But then they say something unexpected. It wasn't for attention. It wasn't for fame. It wasn't even meant as a joke. So if it wasn't any of those things, why continue the lie for so long? To answer that, they go back to the start. October 2023. A 16-year-old student, a old laptop, a simple Roblox video. At first, nothing stood out. The videos were small, just a few hundred views. But slowly, things started to change. The uploads became consistent. The content improved. The views began to rise. It looked like a normal success story. But it wasn't. Because according to Real Rosa, they weren't creating freely. They claimed the channel was built under pressure. They describe a situation where they were threatened with being kicked out, forced to keep uploading, and controlled financially. They say the money they earned wasn't really theirs to keep, and stopping wasn't an option, because if they did, there would be consequences, not just for them, but even for their dog. At that point, the channel wasn't just content anymore. It became something else, a way to survive. This is where everything connects. Real Rosa explains why the lie about their identity began. They say they needed money, and they believed that pretending to be a girl would help the channel grow faster. So they made that choice. At first, it may have seemed small, but over time, it became permanent. Eventually, there was no easy way out. They were stuck, not just in the situation at home, but inside the identity they created. Behind the scenes, things continued to get worse. They say they began secretly documenting everything, writing notes, saving evidence, keeping track of what was happening, preparing for a moment where they could finally leave. And eventually, they tried. They reached out to someone they met online, made an excuse to leave home, and attempted to escape. But according to their statement, that attempt led to something even more serious. They say they were Syed that night. After that, the situation became even more complicated. Fear increased, options decreased, and returning to the same environment felt unavoidable. At the same time, another detail changes how the entire story is viewed. Real Rosa claims that the identity people interacted with wasn't always them. They say that someone they knew in real life sometimes acted as Real Rosa. So when fans thought they were talking to one person, it could have been someone else entirely. The persona wasn't just false. As the channel continued to grow, so did the attention. And with that attention came accusations. People began to claim that Real Rosa scammed fans for Robux-faked situations, used others to create content. Real Rosa denies all of it. They say none of those claims are true, but instead of addressing them in detail here, they chose to focus on something else, taking responsibility for the lie, for the identity, and for everything that came with it. There was still one more mystery. Why did they disappear? No uploads, no consistent updates. Some people thought it was because of backlash. Others believed it was planned. But according to Real Rosa, it was neither. They say they were dealing with serious health issues, acute bronchitis, severe enough that it nearly became pneumonia. And combined with everything happening in their personal life, they couldn't continue posting. The video doesn't end with answers. It ends with an apology.
Someone, and it's completely on me. I will keep posting as usual again, and I will update you guys with everything. You can find me on other socials linked below. I will try to go live on Twitch if you guys have any questions about me, though I'm not sure yet because my PC has been acting really weird for the past few weeks, which makes it almost impossible for me to stream. Anyways, I hope you're doing okay. I love you. I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and
Simple, direct. They admit they lied. They admit people were hurt. And they say they want to move forward, to keep creating. But this time, without hiding behind a false identity. Now, everything has changed. Because this story isn't just about a creator lying online. It's about what was happening behind that lie. And for millions of viewers watching this unfold, one question still remains. Can they trust Real Rosa again?